First director acknowledged failing agent numbers in a release published yesterday, which I'll give credit to that the numbers have since increased. But if your administration can't protect you on day one, what exactly is the security promise worth?
That was just a very early state visit in which my life was not actually taken. As a matter of fact, we managed to neutralize the terrorists. My health conditions had deteriorated on my plane back to DC. As far as numbers for the Secret Service or other protective divisions go, we have brought these up in the one-on-one meetings I've been having yesterday and today. And we have determined that one must go all in on recruitment, whether that be internal or external. That's what the White House portal is also going to focus on. We're going to reach out to every department and hopefully host recruitment runs individually for them and also open days. And another issue is also time zones. As you guys may know, events are held in different times throughout the day, and many officers cannot attend, sadly, especially because this is usually, I believe, final season, so they are very busy with school, their life, and work. And yeah, we're also going to keep recruiting externally as well, and we are going to keep addressing security issues as long as no important official is dead or killed during a special occasion, then we are going to consider it as something successful.
Thank you. We'll move on to this second report here, question, I guess. Um, let's see here. So, from your inaugural reference, you were quoted saying, "We envision a group where new members are not only welcomed but trained, developed, and given real leadership opportunities. And leaders should not join departments for their own success. They should set them up for the future instead of preparing. Set them up for the future, preparing new and fresh faces that take over one day." Mr. President, those are your words from your inauguration address the other day. New members, real leadership
Yes.
opportunities, fresh faces. Your vision was clear. Then your cabinet nominations came out. Faylis organized Owen, who was Secretary of State under the previous administration, and Faylis was the Secretary of War. Jackson Moretti, the DNI. There's more. Most of them, except for the the Homeland Security Secretary, um, were repeat nominations from the previous administration. The committee has watched these individuals cycle through top positions for administration after administration. The end of term memo required all cabinet secretaries to resign, which I understand, and they're renominated, so technically it's a new term. You had a clean slate. You chose to bring them most of them back. You told this community that leaders shouldn't join departments for their own resumes. So why does your cabinet look exactly like the ones you criticized?
It is because mainly of a matter of department stabilization. Many departments have historically been going through highs and lows and transitions of leadership which were absolutely not organized. What I'm trying to do, and again, I brought this up in the one-on-one meetings, is setting up new people and preparing them for leadership. As I said, I brought everybody back up because I want to make sure that upon their departure from the department, there's going to be someone new ready to take over. You could see the Deputy Secretary of War nomination, for example. We have Cav XQS. He has never held any significant leadership position and will be trained by Faylasor to take over eventually if he resigns. But yeah, it is a matter of department stabilizations. We do not want any fuck ups. We do not want to hinder any department just because of resignation of us wanting to put someone new in leadership when they're not ready for it. That's also why we are going on with that White House portal initiatives. We're gonna enable new people to actually seek advice from our advisors, myself, the vice president, and cabinet and department directors, so that they can streamline a way of getting into departments and learning from leaders. And we're also gonna get in courses and certificates for that.
Well, then why the campaign promises for new faces? Why make a promise that you weren't going to keep?
Could you repeat that?
You made a promise for fresh new faces. Why make that promise if you weren't going to keep it to the voters?
Oh, because we are gonna keep it to the voters. We are gonna bring them once they are ready. We cannot just place someone to lead a department when they are not ready for it and when they do not really know the circumstances surrounding that department. First, we want to stabilize each department. Then we want to make sure that department heads train someone new to make sure that they are ready to take over. See the intelligence community, for example. When a vacancy happens, there's always gonna be someone ready to take over, and that's what we are actually gunning for each and every other department.
Hmm, awesome. All right, if we're going to cut to a quick commercial break here, give us one moment here.
Mhm.
Um,
Mr. President, Israel is acting to defend its security.
אדוני ראש הממשלה, יש פרשה חדשה. נתניהו והשבלולים בגינה.
מה?
ראש הממשלה, פרשת הכוסות המלוכלכות בכיור. זה בליינט.
נו, באמת.
Seattle's pledge to defund its police department by 50%, even including a proposal to remove 911 dispatchers from police control.
Joe Biden said he's absolutely on board with defunding the police. Listen closely.
Yes, absolutely.
Hello, you've reached 911. I'm sorry that there is no one here to answer your emergency call, but leave a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Crime will rise.
Never been a more critical time. Fox News Media brings America together. America is watching. News and fearless debate. We're invested in you. From Wall Street to Main Street to your street. America is listening wherever you are, on radio and podcasts. Trending stories you need. Streaming the entertainment that celebrates America. Fox News Media, America's news, and much more.
Alrighty, we're back with President R3VOCATE here. We move on to our next question here about the Department of Justice. In your address, you promised a full DOJ evaluation from the first days of this term, which I have seen. I have seen you meet with them. Mock trials, critical prosecuting positions staffed, bar server modernized. That's a long list for a department that's been described as broken across multiple administrations. The second Justice Commitment Program was promised before your time under the previous president. I'm sorry, 1 second here. What happens specifically if the Attorney General Haste Anarchy doesn't deliver? Will you remove him publicly if he doesn't deliver on your ideas and dreams for the Department of Justice?
Well, if I knew he wasn't gonna deliver, I would have not appointed him in the first place. But before anything like that happens, of course, I'm gonna go ahead and meet with him to see if he actually can keep up with activity standards and with the promises and with the deadlines we have established in the meetings. And if he cannot, then yeah, we're gonna find a way to peacefully part ways. But if he's like going ghost and not gonna be responsive, yeah, of course I'll have to remove him, because that will happen with anybody, by the way, because we have to keep our department strong and going.
Do you think that his appointment of Ethan as the Associate Attorney General was appropriate? Do you think that he's fit for that job?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He mainly handles public affairs. And we are trying to actually develop people that may have struggled in the past. For example, we have Ethan, who has been heavily criticized because of some of his mistakes. But we are actively trying to train him to be better. And Ethan is actually also doing great at this job right now. He has been asked to staff his division, and he has done so appropriately. So yeah, we're proud of him, and we're gonna keep supporting him.
We're going to turn our viewers' attention to their screen here. We're going to pull up a timeline real quick here. 1 moment. So I want to ask a few questions here. So, Mr. President, you were vice president when Camp Pendleton was attacked. President Nehru was killed within hours. The Nehru administration had blamed the Ethiopian government, raised the DEFCON to level 2, and issued a travel ban, and ordered Marines to, quote, defend the nation's sovereignty while on a joint operation in Ethiopia. But the other side of the story won't go away, rather. Ethiopian diplomatic officials, before their statement was conveniently deleted, said U.S. forces were the aggressors. Video evidence that is still publicly available appears to show a U.S. Marine shooting an unarmed Ethiopian soldier and another Marine firing upon a clearly marked member of the press. In a statement to the United Nations, Secretary of State Overweight Owen, who remains in the position in your new administration, accused Ethiopian operations of carrying out the attack. Posting the video of the shooting from the attacker's point of view alongside a screenshot of an unknown user. Mr. President, where's the evidence that the Ethiopian government directed or sponsored this attack? Who is this anonymous account? How the evidence was authenticated? And did your government manufacture or exaggerate a justification and take hostile actions against allied forces on their own soil? Because this
No,
timeline does not add up.
absolutely. We will never do such thing. There's actually no point in going on to fabricate evidence just to drag us into a conflict or whatever. We can generate Marines activity just via MDAs or joint trainings with our allies. As far as evidence goes, we have released our videos, and they have not been able to actually deny the evidence we have provided them accurately. As far as assassinating a member of the press goes, it's just a casualty, and I won't actually be able to really go deep with this matter, especially because it is an ongoing operation, and I do not want to hinder any training or operation.
So a member of the press being killed is just a casualty. Someone who's reporting
Oh,
on
he
the
was not
events,
killed.
holding both sides accountable. In your view, that's just a casualty of war.
He was not killed. He was shot once, and that was it.
I mean, he was still shot though.
Yes, but not killed. He was probably mistaken as a soldier.
Interesting. I'll turn your attention and the viewers' attention to the timeline we have built here of what happened. So the first shots were fired at around, let's see here, 5:15, I do believe. There was an attack that started at 6:09 p.m. That's the timestamp that was reporting from the ABC News. That was reporting the event. That's when the attack happened. The exfil data that was shown to prove that the United States was attacked. Shows the image was taken at 5:15, further cementing the American troops' presence in Ethiopia when the attack by U.S. Marines took place, as seen on the video footage. So the timeline here is not adding up. How do you make sense of that?
Can you repeat the question, please? I'm trying to understand the timeline here.
You're good. Yeah, so are we. That's what the question's about. Why is the timeline not matching up with what the official story was given? When the attack that happened on Camp Pendleton, the time was after the attack from the Ethiopian government, if that makes sense.
So we have given a. So what you're stating is that we have given a time, but it does not match with the publication of the clip.
Correct. Yes, the first shot was fired at 6:09 p.m. at Camp Pendleton. That happened before the Ethiopian deployment.
Before the Ethiopian deployment.
Yes, the timeline that was given was that the attack during the Ethiopian deployment happened after the attack on Pendleton.
I'll love to actually review this before I can give you a valid answer. So if you would like to reach out after the interview, then I can analyze this properly.
Yeah, we'll
check
circle back to this here in a minute here. Let me get my timeline fixed up here, and we'll circle back to it. Move on to our next moment of question here. 1 second here. Give me one moment here. So as far as for your inaugural address, you promised us you have sat down with most cabinet members from what I've seen with your events scheduled, and given them expectations, deadlines to make sure those are met. It sounds great on paper, but Mr. President, who holds you accountable when you don't follow through? You're the one setting the deadlines. What's the mechanism that stops this from becoming another administration full of good promises, with empty calendars?
Oh, because I'm going to actively keep in touch with them and help them with these initiatives because they are not going to be the only individuals working on it, but I will support them as the President of the United States. I'll periodically check in, ensure that everything goes well. If nothing has happened, I will make sure it does.
But who holds you accountable?
Who what?
Who holds you accountable?
Who holds me accountable?
Yes, because I mean, we saw this in the last administration. There was a good portion of inactivity from the president. You were pretty active, to your own credit. But who holds the president accountable?
Well, activity-wise, Congress does that, and the press can also shit on me, of course, absolutely. And I will respond to public feedback.
Alrighty. All right, we're gonna move back to the Ethiopian question here. So, what evidence is there to show that Ethiopia attacked us first before we attacked them? Is there any evidence at all that is publicly available that we could access or that you could share with us that would show that Ethiopia did attack us first? that
No,
this
I
was not
cannot
a
share
false
anything
flag
else right
attack.
now because it's still an ongoing operation. So you'll have to, at least for the moment, rely on the clips that we've already provided.
Okay, it's an ongoing
Until
operation, but you did lower the DEFCON level to level 3 from 2. Can
Uh-huh.
you speak about that? There was no
Oh
public
yeah,
explanation
absolutely.
against that. Why did the DEFCON level move to level 3?
It is because I'm actively planning on drafting an executive order outlining what each DEFCON level means. Because right now, I don't believe there's anything other than simple internal policy outlining what each DEFCON does and when it shall be, changed. So I'm going to try and standardize this. As if you go on and reference the Euro Life DEFCON, DEFCON 2 is near nuclear war, which is not the case here, and we cannot have nuclear war.
So did the previous president overreact to DEFCON 2?
It's not I wouldn't say it's an overreaction. No, because again, these standards were not set in place.
Hmm.
And they had
But they
more
were set
time
in
to
place, and
actually think
I think
about
it's
it.
weird that we still haven't had any explanation on either side from the previous administration or from you about why the DEFCON level has changed if we are or are not at war, and what's actually going on. There hasn't been any public um, visibility into this. There's no one being held accountable, and there's not any transparency at all. And I get it's an ongoing operation, as you say, but how can Americans trust you with that?
We are of course going to try and be as transparent as possible moving from now on, at least under my administration. But again, as an ongoing operation, I cannot actually release much. And with the ongoing DEFCON, again, there's going to be an executive order outlining what each DEFCON means, so that future presidents will also be able to share why they changed DEFCONs better. Right now, I believe that President Nibiru just, it actually was announced, I believe. Now that I think about it,
What was
if I
that?
can find
Sorry,
the
I
announcement.
didn't hear that. What was that?
Oh yeah, DEFCON 2 was actually announced with a reasoning, if I remember correctly. I can try and find the announcement. But
Do you
yeah,
believe that Niebuhr overreacted to a DEFCON 2?
no,
You do not believe
it,
he overreacted. You think he was well within his right to go to DEFCON 2.
yeah,
Hmm. And I think the reasoning question that I was asking about was with DEFCON 3. There was no reasoning that was explained with that. And I get you said that you're going to work on an executive order to define what DEFCON levels mean. But the American people still never got any update of what's going on to know why we moved to DEFCON 3. Because DEFCON 2, like you said, is close to nuclear war, and that's a pretty big jump from DEFCON 4. But we still have no public explanation of why we moved to DEFCON 3. Are troops still in
oh yeah,
harm's
that
way?
is.
Americans safe? Or
No, yeah, Americans are 100% safe. We are actually supervising the situation, and not giving a proper announcement about DEFCON 3 was done on purpose because an announcement will be released once the executive order rolls out.
what's the timeline on that?
Timeline on that, you can expect it to be released either throughout this week or before next weekend ends.
And just to circle back again to the Ethiopian operation, was that a false flag operation? Yes or no?
False flag operation.
Do you know what a false
Like,
flag operation is?
I probably heard it in Italian, but I do not. I
One
cannot
moment.
recall in English. Pardon me.
Well, yeah, maybe our viewers don't know either. Let's educate everybody. So, a false flag operation is an act designed to deceive by making it appear that a particular group or nation is responsible for an action, when in fact it was carried out by another party, or the party itself, who, in this case, would be the United States. Did the United States commit a false flag operation on itself to give an intention for us to go to war with Ethiopia? Yes or no?
Absolutely, absolutely no.
Absolutely not. Like no way at all that was not a false flag operation.
Negative.
Interesting. Do we have any proof yet? Still, that is that we can see to prove that this is accurate
Everything will release as time goes by.
as time goes by. Interesting. What's the timeline on that look like after your presidency? A few weeks, a few months.
No, during my presidency, of course. The situation will develop, and I will be trying to remain as transparent as possible with the situation. Of course, we have tensions with a foreign government, and we also deployed our Marines, so I do not see why the American public should not be informed about what we're up to. I've pledged to remain transparent, after all.
You heard it here, folks. Was not a false flag operation. I hope that stays true. We're going to move on here now to the judiciary side of your inaugural address. So, in your address, you mentioned codifying entrapment as one of your legislative goals. How do you plan on to implement this?
Can you repeat that?
You mentioned codifying entrapment as one of your legislative goals. How do you plan on implementing this?
If it's feasible, I will have my discussions with the Attorney General and other appropriate officials. But if it turns out to be a good idea, we're gonna reach out to Congress and help them in drafting this legislation.
Any details on it? What's going on or how this is going to work?
Basically, we're gonna try and hold law enforcement officials accountable who try and deceive people into committing crimes. It's literally the real life definition. We're gonna try to, implement it in the group.
But in reality, Mr. President, entrapment has decades of precedent behind it, both in real law and in this community's own legal history. Entrapment is available as a defense against criminal charge by design. It allows for the court to exercise judicial direction. It is not, and has never been, a crime in itself. By codifying entrapment, are you not encroaching on judicial discretion? Do you believe that it's necessary for the executive and legislative branch to step in and limit the judiciary's reach? And if so, why is the power that you want this administration to have? Why is that what you want?
No, it's just as I've outlined, it's just an idea that will be discussed with appropriate officials. So jurisdictions will be outlined in our next meeting or our DMs, and we will decide whether this is actually feasible or not in the context of this community. It is not necessarily a need, at least.
Is this about making the law clearer or limiting what the judges can decide on their own?
No, it is about making the law clear and allowing for more prosecution.
Interesting.
And accountability.
Have you drafted this proposal? Because you mentioned it in your inaugural address. So has there been a draft that was done before that? And did you consult with the Attorney General or any of your staff members on this?
Can you repeat the first part? I just cut out. My Wi-Fi is fairly bad tonight.
You're good. Who drafted this proposal? Because it was in your inaugural address. It sounded like you had it drafted up. So who drafted this proposal? Was it yourself?
Oh yeah, it was myself.
Did you consult with the Attorney General or any of your staffers on this?
No, it was not brought up yet, as we need to focus on something else regarding the Justice Department first. It will be brought up once it's appropriate.
Okay, so far, most of the questions, we don't have any details on. It's going to come up. Is that correct? Is that my understanding?
Could you repeat that again?
We don't have any details on any of the questions, really. We're just, it really sounds like you're deflecting most of the questions I have today for you.
Deflecting?
But, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break here. One moment. All right, you're going to love a commercial break too here. One moment.
She's still the one for you. And Cialis for daily use helps you be ready anytime the moment is right. Cialis is also the only daily ED tablet approved to treat symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines, and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or any allergic reactions like rash, hives, swelling of the lips, tongue, or throat, or difficulty breathing or swallowing, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use and a free 30-tablet trial.
And there's your beautiful baby. Any day now.
Really? You're eating Doritos? He's eating Doritos on my ultrasound. Do you see what I have to do?
I know.
Give me that.
Like us, China also saw their weakness. So did Putin. Then he invaded Ukraine. Hamas saw Harris' anti-Israel statements and will use it as a green light to keep murdering Israelis. And Iran thinks Harris is so incompetent. New intel shows they're trying to help Harris win the election. America doesn't need another TikTok performer. We need the strength that will protect us.
Honey Bunch, Oh.
Breakfast in bed.
Nou, dit is dus de huiskamer. En dan komen we hier bij de slaapkamer. Oh ja. Met
Alrighty, we're back. Shout out to our sponsors there for the lovely ads they made for us. If you want an ad on Fox and Friends, you can always message us with your ad. Make sure it's appropriate, of course. We're going to move on here next to the office of let's see here. Actually, 1 second. OIG and conflict of interest here. So in your inaugural address, you quoted as we're saying, every issue of this administration will be resolved through direct communication, will minimize public arguments to avoid undermining reputations in the executive as a whole. You pledged strong support for the Inspector General and said every issue will be resolved through direct communication. But your cabinet is composed of entirely of people with pre-existing relationships with you. When the office of the Inspector General investigates someone close to you, and actually 1 second here, hold on, let me pull this up. So if the office ends up inspecting or investigating someone close to you, how does the community trust that you won't protect them?
I won't. I mean, my cabinet hasn't. I mean, you could say that they have been close to me to a certain extent, but not personally. I will not try to interfere with investigations, especially because I'm only the office of the president. That goes without saying. But people like Sub-Zero Bandit or another example, Jackson or I don't know, Haste, I'm not too close with them. So not personally.
What about the other ones? You mentioned two,
Yeah,
but
the ones.
everybody else.
Well,
What happens if
yeah,
somebody
okay.
comes up
Let me
against them? Are
see.
you
Let
going
me
to
see.
protect them?
Let me see do this. My bad. My bad. Hold up. Hold up. Let me pull it up. So we got. I mean, Tyler Carr. We worked together before. That was just that. Ram. Yeah, I'm pretty personal with it, but I won't. Again, there's no point in me interfering with investigations if I'm holding the office of the president. I'm not here to give my friends role. I'm not a nepo. I do not endorse nepotism. I've been closer to Ram and Owen on a more personal level, like Fade, Sub, Hayes, and Jackson. This has been pretty much group only.
I mean, you just
I'm
said
not
you
here
don't
to give
endorse
favors.
nepotism, but you just talked about how you're really close friends with Rem and Owen. Do you
Yeah,
think
they
those are actually
didn't get.
qualified individuals for the positions that they're
Yes,
in, or do they get the
absolutely.
jobs because of nepotism and previous administration, since they worked in the previous administration?
I mean, we're not above, and nobody's above the law. Organized Owen has held the role of Deputy Secretary of State and also has held many roles within OUN. While I've personally worked with him, he has been Chief of Staff and has proved to me that he can handle graphics and documents very well. So that's why I've selected them.
I mean, sure, graphics and documents are one thing, but like when someone holds a position for 6 months, going on still, um, you don't think that's nepotism? You don't think that giving fresh
Mm.
new faces a try is something that should be done here?
Oh
Especially for
yeah,
chief of staff.
absolutely.
Let's say chief of staff, for example. I mean, sure, you could say for continuity of government to have them carry over, but I mean,
Mm.
is there going to be a replacement for the chief of staff? Like, I mean, 6 months of that position is quite a while, and that seems like the definition of nepotism to me personally. But what's your
I
take on that?
mean, I'm not handing out offices just because they're my friends. No, I just selected competent people to stabilize my departments and then prepare new people for leadership.
Mm.
Future, of course.
So, in your view, there's no one else competent to hold the positions of,
No,
let's
that's
say,
not
for
what implied.
okay, all right, one moment here. Right, to Congress now. You've said on the record multiple times how you are thankful that you do not to put up with Congress anymore, but you still do. If you want to have legislation pushed through, if you want your cabinet positions to be passed, you still have to really work with Congress there. I
Yeah.
mean, you would in a perfect world, but I mean, we all know this Congress will do anything and just says yes to everything. They don't debate, or they have um, what's the word, conflict of interest on things, so they just don't vote. But in light of that, um, you came to Congress with ideas, Olympic Week, a Library of Congress, and codifying entrapment. That's most specific than most inaugurations speeches that we've seen before. But you also inherited a Congress the community has described as losing professionalism and activity. Do you have the congressional relationship to actually pass anything, or will these ideas just die in committee like everything else usually does?
They're not going to be pushed out, of course, if they do not have the support in Congress. What I'm going to do is I'm going to gather with both chambers, hopefully everyone, because I've already been scheduling this with my vice president and speaker of the house, and I'm going to propose this legislation, see how feasible it is, see if we can brainstorm anything else, see what they expect, see what we expect, and we're going to push them out. relationships. I don't think stuff should pass because of relationships. It should pass because of competence. So, the vice president and speaker of the house are also working on something, which I will just leave it up to them to speak about publicly to hopefully increase competence in Congress.
We're almost done here. To follow up on that, what's your take on Denisha and the Billy Bob Joe President Pro Tempore election? Since you were the VP for almost 6 months now, what's your take on Billy Bob Joe leading the Senate in your vice president's absence?
As long as he doesn't mess up, and as long as we're capable of preparing him to preside, my vice president will do his absolute best to do that, then that's fine. As long as we do not have a troll covering that position,
Who would
then
you
it's gonna
want in
be
that position out of the two options
who
that
would
were
I
given?
want? Can you repeat that? The last portion?
Yeah, who would you want in that position? You're VP. You know how the Senate works. You ran it like a Navy ship. It seemed like almost. Who do you think is better suited for that position?
For PPT?
Yes.
Between these two candidates?
Yes.
Continuity wise, and I will say Denisha because he has more experience within the Senate. He has been actively trying to bring back debate. But Bob Joe, yes, is experienced, and I do not really know much about him personally. So yeah, there's that.
Alrighty, well, we're about to close off here, but final question for you here, Mr. President. Let's see here. One moment. You close your inaugural address by saying humans aren't naturally prone to progress, but we have to push forward anyways. You've been VP twice. You've watched administrations rise and stall from the inside. You know better than most what failure looks like in here, considering you did impeach a failure president, Private Teddy. So at the end of this term, not what you promised, not what you planned. What do you want the community to say about you, and what you actually changed?
Well, once I'm out of office, how do I want the community to remember me?
Yeah, not what you promised, not what you planned. I want to know what you want people to say about you. I mean, we all have things. Like my favorite president was Lagchar. He was one of the few presidents when I first joined back in 2021. What do you want people to say about you?
That I was active, that I upheld, that I was a man of my word, and that I told stuff out.
That's it. You don't want to be remembered for anything else.
For my incentives, new incentives, hopefully that are going to be successful. Hopefully, just just that. Yeah, nothing really out of the blue. For making a change, you will say, yeah.
Alrighty, well, I won't keep you for too much longer. I know you got a meeting with Department of War here soon. Hopefully, to talk about that Ethiopia incident to get the public some more information here. But tonight, you gave us answers. Whether they match, that's for the American people to decide. We wish you good luck. For Fox and Friends is Miss TSC. This is Fox News, your unbiased, fair, and balanced reporting. Y'all have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Much appreciated.